the first thing is, so do both of you have a Squarespace account set up now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that is where you can log in, squarespace.com/login. I'm going to do screen sharing because that'll be the easiest way for me to.
Great. I'm going to go off camera then.
Yeah, no worries.
To look at my disgusting sick face, I'm just saying.
So we're going to go here, share. Okay. And then, so once you log in, so for you, you will not see a dashboard because I manage a lot of client sites. I see a bunch of websites, but for you, it'll go directly to your website. And so when it pops open, oh, hello?
I don't have any website that shows up for me.
Well, that's going to be because you don't have access yet. So I'm going to handle it.
Sorry.
Right now we're on the phone. So,
okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Deirdre's the only one right now with access. So we'll walk through that right now. So once you log in, typically you would see this. So let's start out with going straight to settings and giving both of you access. So at the bottom, you have help, sidebar, and settings. And I'll show this to you again on yours once I've given you access. I'm just showing you where it is right now.
Adita, you can see the screen?
Can you not see it, Vashti?
I can see it.
Okay.
Vashti, can you see the screen?
Okay. So I'm going to go into permissions and ownership, and I'm going to invite you as contributors. So Adita, which email are you using to?
I put it in the chat. It's my work email.
Oh, thanks. Hold on just a second. And can you pop yours in there too, Vashti, just so I make sure I have it in right? Oh, good. Deirdre's here. There's 3 main contributors that your team will use. Technically 4 because I'll switch ownership, but 3 are the main ones. So an administrator has basically global access. You have basically access to everything on the site. The only thing an administrator cannot do is transfer ownership from one person to another. A person who has billing access can buy or change plans, manage subscriptions, but they can't do any like the general administrator stuff. Like they can't be adding people or anything like that. And then website editors can only edit the website content. They can't do anything about billing. They can't change ownership. They can't add new users, kind of do all those administration things.
Okay. So Erica, you're the owner right now, if I understand that correctly?
Yes, right now I'm the owner because I had to do all the stuff on the back end. And so once we're done with this, ownership will be switched over to whichever one of you wants.
Okay.
Tell me they want to be the owner.
Got it. Thank you.
So at this point, should I make all of you administrators?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize that was a question.
Okay.
Yeah, administrator, and I would say also, does administrator have the billing privileges automatically?
Administrator has everything except for ownership.
Okay, perfect.
So, and then Vashti. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Right. And then I'm going to update Deirdre to make her an administrator. Save that. Okay. I'm going to close that out. Now, you should be able to see, if you're logged in, the website. Is that working now?
I still can't, but I just got an email from Squarespace, so let me
Oh,
see.
okay, yeah, that's what you need to accept the invitation to be an administrator.
Oh, got it.
Sorry
Okay, let me do that. Okay, now I see it.
Perfect. Okay. So once you're in, this is what it will look like when you log in. You'll see your home page. On the left hand, you'll see a sidebar. At the very bottom, you'll see in the center of those three icons, it says customize sidebar. I've already customized mine, but because you all aren't selling anything, I would recommend that you turn off all these, the products and services, contents and membership, scheduling, donations, and invoicing, so that your sidebar isn't clogged up with stuff you don't use at all. It's totally optional, but I think it makes it a lot easier to kind of maneuver through things. So that's the first thing I would do. And then I want to walk through the settings. So we actually just went through permissions and ownership, but the settings is on this front page on the sidebar, actually. And I'm not going to go over every single setting because some of them you'll really never have to change. But I want you to just at least know which ones are critical for you and have a sense of what they do. The website, so right now your site's public, English, regional settings, everything is set to you already. It's got your time zone, your cookie stuff is set up. Your favicon is the little icon in the very top by your address bar. All of this is all set up already. You won't need customer notifications or selling because you don't do that. Brand is AI stuff. You won't use that. Marketing is SEO. That's all set up. The permissions and ownership is the one that I just mentioned. So if you need to add someone else, you'd go to settings, permissions and ownership, click on here and invite a contributor. I'm gonna go through this one piece and then I'm gonna call on you, Deirdre. So I just wanted to give you an example beyond those administrators. If you have, for instance, let's say Sergio wants to write a guest blog post for you. You could add him as a basic author. So he doesn't have to log into the site, but he could send you a blog post he wanted. You all would upload it. And then this basic author step information, you could upload his image, his name, and a bio, and then add it when you post the blog post. And I'll show, when we walk through what blog post, how to do the blog post, I'll show you how to change an author. And then you could just plug in his name from that drop-down menu. And so if you have guest posts, you can use the basic author, which is kind of a nice thing since you have member organizations. So, Deirdre, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No worries. And hello, everyone. So what I'm noticing on your page, and this wasn't my initial question, but something I was going to ask. I see myself as the administrator, but I tried multiple emails of mine and I cannot get back to that initial sign in I had because it doesn't allow me to sign in. It's saying it doesn't recognize any of my emails.
So this email address?
Yep, I tried that one too. And
Try resetting your password?
you know what? Both Vashti and I was going over it yesterday, and I know I tried this one, but I think it said it didn't acknowledge that I used that email. So it may be another step that I had to take. But anyway, I'm glad to see that because
I mean, I can remove you and send you another invite. Do you want to use that email?
what I did, can you remove that one? But if you remove it, does that mean I lose everything that was connected to that? Or because I think some payments were made, like under billing maybe, or.
Yeah, I don't think that'll change anything there.
Okay. What I did was I also set one up for the Empower Michigan at Gmail. That's what I'm using.
Do you want to be using that rather than empowermichigan.net?
Well, Vashti might have set up one for
Yeah,
that
she
one
did.
because, yeah, because
I'm just saying, do you want to use that rather than your own personal email, or not personal, but work email, which would,
Sorry, can I just ask, because I feel like this is like, can really easily become a mess.
yeah,
So what I would suggest is that we each have our own account under our own email addresses,
yes,
like a work email address preferably, but whatever email address you want to use. So if it's Wimiak for you, Deirdre, that's great. Vashti, if it's your Gmail account, that's great. And then let's have one Empower Michigan email account that connects to the Gmail account that we have. And that's maybe the ownership, that could be the ownership account, because it shouldn't be tied to a specific person. It needs to be tied to the organization.
Yeah, and that's why I'm using the Empower
and we call
Michigan.
that admin and not like anybody's name.
okay, I'm going to put a pin in this because I want us to make sure we make it through the things, and we're a little bit in the weeds. So I'm going to put a pin in it and we're going to come back to it so that we finish that part, because we could even do that over email. I just don't want to get bogged down here. So let me just pop back to my, okay. Oh, sorry.
Will I be able to follow along, Erica, with the Empower Michigan at Gmail? Because I already have that one open.
So you're
Or
asking, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me.
Or I can just follow along with what you guys have on here, but I don't have all those, all the steps that you're going through now. I don't see all of those steps on my desktop using the Empower Michigan at Gmail account.
Can you see my screen, what I'm sharing?
I can see your screen,
okay.
Yes.
You can follow along this way for right now.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So we went through contributors, we went through basic authors. The other part under settings is billing. So this is where you would update your payment information. So if you were going to change your credit card or billing address, it's also, I know that Jared had mentioned she wanted to see invoices. This is where you would see your invoices. They're right here. And your manager subscriptions. You shouldn't be changing your subscription because you have stuff in there that's specific to your subscription. But if for some reason you needed to change your subscription, this is where you would do it. And those are the main things you need to know about within settings. I'm going to close that out, and we are going to go into, let's see here. We're going to go into on the left-hand side, we're going to start, I'm going to walk through these real quick. So assets is the images that are used on your site. So all of the images on your site are contained in here. And I put them into folders by page because I thought that would make it the easiest for you to be able to find them. And I labeled them. So for instance, logo and brand files, that makes it a little bit easier. But that way you know what images are with what pages. So if you click on, for instance, join page, you'll see the image that's there. Same page, blog post images, any blog post image is in this folder. That just makes it a little bit easier for you to be able to know, like, if you have 50 images in there, it can be really hard to know, like, what page was that on or where does that go? And it get really in the weeds if you start naming them all that way. So I find this really helpful for me when I'm managing, for instance, my own site. It's really helpful to have things organized by folders. And of course, it'll be 100% up to you once it's under your purview, but I set it up this way because I think it's a little bit easier, at least at the start. So your assets, again, only pertain to the images on the site. Styles is, I'm going to have to move, I have a thing that's right here and I need to move it so I can actually see. There we go. Okay. So your site styles, again, at this point are not something that you should need to be changing, but there's something we're going to walk through. Did everybody have a chance to look at the client help guide?
Yeah, I looked at it some.
Sorry, I did not, mostly because I've been in and out.
That's okay. I will pop over to that page and we'll look through it, but I don't, if it sounds a little bit like, I'm not sure what all this is right now. I think Eric just joined us. Oh, maybe not. It said someone wanted to join us. Now I don't see anybody. Okay. What is this? Who wants to join? Where is it? View. Admit. There he is. Okay. Eric, are you here? I just admitted him. And now I don't see him. Well, hopefully he'll come back. Okay. So what I was going to say is if some of this sounds a little bit unfamiliar at this point, that's okay. When I walk you through the help guide, it's probably going to be a little bit clearer. But the site styles are basically all the way that your site visually presents itself. So all of the colors, the fonts, the styling of the buttons, all of those. So right now, I do not recommend that you make any changes here, but I want to show you where they are so that you know. The color themes, every Squarespace site has 10 color themes automatically, and they start out with your branded colors, and then they have to get customized. So that's all of these right here. And each of these themes is used on individual sections on a page, which we'll also be going over in just a moment. So I'm going to close out of site styles, which again, like I said, you should not need to change anything there. At this point, I'm going to exit out of there. That would be helpful, wouldn't it? Let's not close. There we go. Okay, pages. Okay, so we did
just
over.
Eric is here. I just saw him.
Yes, yeah. I'm glad you're here, Eric. Thanks for joining.
Sorry for running late.
No worries. It's being recorded, and if you have any questions, obviously you still have access to me. And then if there's something that didn't make sense or something, I've got a lot of help guide, but feel free to reach out to me. So pages. Actually, you know what? Let's go back because I don't think I have Eric under permissions and ownership. Eric, which email address are you using? Can I add you as an administrator?
It should be last name, first name at Gmail. So McCleary Eric.
Okay. All right. So now you've been invited, you will get an email sent. So once you accept that and log in, you'll see what I'm seeing right now. So those are the back end pieces. So you've seen settings, you've seen assets, and you've seen styles. And so now if you want to make edits, it's pages that you'll look at. And when I went through, actually, you know what, I'm going to pop over to, I kind of want to, present something else. I want to pop over to the client help guide real quick. So this client help guide is a page on your site that is a customized guide to help you kind of walk through your site itself, the basics of using Squarespace, and sort of just the information that you need, as well as all of the backend information on your site styles, the code I've used on there, access to all the original images, and more, everything that's on your site. So there's customized videos on here. I'm going to refresh this actually because I think, and the password is EM2025. There we go. There's a new link in there. Okay. So the customized videos here are on a YouTube playlist. I have, once this one's done, I'll add that on there as well. And you'll have access to these so that you can continue to access them throughout the lifetime of your site whenever you need them. But they're kind of the basic, easiest things. It's an overview of your website, sort of how to do some of the basic things. Oh, good. I'm so glad, Deirdre. And then some useful links. So Squarespace, one of the things I love about Squarespace is it has a super comprehensive help center. Almost anything that you could ask about, if you search, has guides and at least 1 or 2 videos to help you understand how to do it. And they have a forum where users can ask questions and answer each other's questions. It's really robust in that way. So that's always a really good place to go. You can always ask me, but if for some reason it's like you're on your own and you have questions, that's a great place to go. Your login link, this is your back end link, so you can use either one of those to log in. You can bookmark either one of those. And then if you're having troubleshooting, like Deirdre actually mentioned earlier, there's a troubleshooting page right here. I'm glad I linked that. I put the information about billing and invoices. And then we didn't use this during the site review because it doesn't work well if a site's not live. But as you go forward and you add new content to your site, if you ever need to check and see, you want to make sure you don't have broken links and you've added a bunch of stuff, this is a link validator that you can use that's free, and it's through a reputable organization, the W3 organization, and you can check for broken links on your site, so it's really nice. This piece is all of the information about the site styles that you use, your color themes, your site map, your images. So anything that is, so for instance, the website images, that's actually a link to your Google Drive, because I have uploaded all of those compressed for the web and full size, and broken them down into stock images, icons, and graphics, and images actually used on your website, so that you have access to all of them at full size. So the full size stock images, as an example, you can use on print images because they're so high res. And the other ones, you just have them, you can use them digitally. And I've labeled all of them, and you put in like a README so that you understand any information. And you can, again, always ask me questions if you have questions about them. But I tried to make it really clear so that you knew what each different type was for. List of your third-party plugins. There's code that's used to make your site, some aspects of your site look or work the way they do. All of those are saved in individual files as just text format. And that way, if for some reason I got hit by a bus or you decided to hire a different developer at some point, you would have access to every single piece that you would need to do anything you needed to your site. I want to make sure whenever I do this with a client, every single piece that's used for your site is given to you so that you never have to say, I don't know where this is, or my designer never gave that to me. My goal is for you to be able to take this and run with it if you need to, anywhere else you ever need to. This is.
Hey, Erica, you broke up a little bit. We lost sound. Or at least
About providing everything.
oh, you're back.
Okay. Let's go. I'm going to share this tab real quick. So this is just a visual representation of your website, so you can kind of see the different sections and what it looks like and what the pages that are navigated throughout your site. And then down here is just the support information. And then going forward, if you need additional support, we can either do a screen sharing, or if you had like content, you needed SEO done, you needed some minor design or layout changes, either of those, you can book with me in 1 hour blocks at $95 an hour, and you get $20 off your first session for being a current client. Again, I'm hoping that once we get through this, I've answered a lot of your questions. And, I'm available throughout the week. So if you still need, answers, and you can always think, yay, I'm glad to hear that. I've worked a long time on getting everything kind of set to templated for folks. Yeah, so all of this is set up in here so that you can always access this. If you're a little bit lost, this is this is your number one place to go, your on-site help guide, and it's private to you. It's got a password, so only you can access it. So I'm going to go back to the Pages tab real quick. So on your main navigation here, you'll see all the pages, and you'll see how there's folder drop downs. So for about, everything that's underneath there pops up here. If you added a page here, it would show up in this drop down. Same for resources. Join is its own page. Take action is unique because it doesn't actually look like a link to me, but it is a link. And it goes to that take action section of your site. So when you add a page, if you add it under main navigation, it will show up here. So unless you want it to show up there, don't add it up there. But I'm going to show you down here, not linked, what things look like, just so you can see. So if we add a page, there's a whole variety of things. I typically start with blank pages because I typically build everything from scratch, but you can use pre-existing layouts, a blog, and a link is what I was showing you earlier. So when you have a link, you're like, let's do it like join, and then we'll do down here, we'll do join, and we'll click save. And so you can see, so it's not a page in itself, it's a link to a page. But if I put it up here, it would show as its own page. So it's just a way of, if you have a page that if you don't want it to be in main navigation, but you need it or a portion of it to be linked, that's how you would do it. So that's just to give an example. I'm going to remove that because we don't need it. So I want to walk through, well, let me walk through not linked first. So these sections down here are not linked. So your main blog page right now is not linked. If you wanted to, one of the things we could do is we could do like blog and then do take. And then, oops, I'm going to show this to you as an example. Oops, we're going to put it like right there. If I put that there, you can see blog. And then if you would go to your main blog page. See how it's like a link, but it's not this down here because this is saved elsewhere since it's pulled into your take action section. So that's just an example of how you might use that. You don't have to, but you could. Your blogs are down here. The webinar information that populates your the advocacy page is down there. All of your required pages are down here under not linked. They're all linked at the very bottom. And then this piece, client resources, is the piece that will be most relevant to you. Again, it's got your client help guide. It's got your site styles. So this is information on all of the fonts, the buttons, the colors, the icons, and then links to your images. So that this is all basically the design of your site. For any one of these fonts, if you click on the accordion next to it, you'll be able to see the details on the information. And again, this is for the same reason. If I got hit by a bus, something happened to your site and you needed to have it go back to where it was, you would have all of this information detailed for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Erica, can I ask you a quick question? Just because I don't know where the training is heading, so sorry if I'm skipping ahead, but
No worries.
I was wondering if you could actually share like a real life example of updating something, like what that would look like what you just did with the blog, moving it to the main thing.
That's
Because
actually the next section that we're doing.
Okay, great. Awesome. Sorry for skipping.
Sure. I just want to run through this real quick. I'll skim through this real quick. So this is just your color themes, just so that you can see what they all look like. And
Great.
that
And
was,
you're totally fine. I just didn't know if we're going to get to that
no,
or
no,
not.
no, I totally understand. Because I didn't give you an agenda. I wrote one up and I did it on paper, and I should have done it on, not on paper. But the other important piece down here is called Sandbox. And so I create a sandbox, and the only place you will access Sandbox from is when you are logged into Squarespace. So you shouldn't be accessing it outside of Squarespace, because this is your testing ground. This is where you get a chance to experiment and play around with Squarespace without having to worry that you are going to break your website. So when you're logged into Squarespace, if you come to this page, you'll see it says edit up here. And if you click on edit, now you are able to start. Can I put this here? Start adding information in about, I'm sorry, I just blanked out here. I was looking for my notes. So you'll be able to play in here. I've taken out the footer and the header. So this page is literally just, you can change it around. I put in different sections in here. Every page of your website is made up of sections that are stacked on top of each other vertically. I'm going to show you an example of that. So if I click anywhere in here, you can see how it says add section. So these are all individual sections. And then each section has content. So I've added in a variety of sections from your site in here so that you can play. These are copies of them so that you can play with them and see what it's like to edit them or make changes. So, and I've labeled each of them sandbox areas so that you always know you're in a safe space where you don't have to worry if you won't break anything here. This page is yours to play with and add to and remove stuff however you like. So let's start out by walking through what it looks like to add a section. So if you add a blank section, there'll be nothing in it at all. It will be completely naked, and you would have to add content in order for it to look like anything. Squarespace has pre-templated sections that you can use. I don't typically use a lot of them, but you absolutely can if you want to do something. They have a whole lot of different styles. And the other thing that it has is save sections. So what I've done is for every unique section in your site, I have saved those here for you. And those contain both the section itself and the content that exists in it. So that you can always add these in to your sandbox page. Or if later on you're designing a page and you're like, oh, I really like the way that one section looked on that other page, you can pop it in and then just edit it to look the way you'd like it to look. So let's pick a section. Is there any particular section you'd like to play around with or take a look at?
Okay, I'm thinking about sections that we're going to need to update the most.
Okay.
I would say the
The
membership.
member, yeah.
All right, let's take a look at that. Okay. So members. This is a very simple section because it's basically all text. So this, anywhere where you have text, so you would add a block here to add text, but you've already got your text here. So if you wanted to add in a new member, let's make up a name. Let's say something that's in Detroit. So let's say Detroit Disability Power joined. So you would just hit return, you'd add that. When you highlight the text, you'll see this form.
Erica, you broke up. You cut out again.
All of this should be left at paragraph 2 because this is body.
Hey, Erica,
Yes, go ahead.
you cut out again.
Oh, I'm sorry. What part did I cut out?
after you wrote down Detroit disability power,
Uh-huh.
and then you started paragraph 2, and then you cut out.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So all of the body text is paragraph 2. So you wouldn't change this, but this is where, for instance, if you had added text here and you wanted it to be heading 1, that's where you would be able to change it using the drop down. But when you highlight it, that's where you can add your link. So I don't remember the link for that, but let's just say it's detroit.disability.org. And then for external links, you'll see that it turns into a link. Then all you have to do is click save. And it's ready to go. That's done. And if you're like, oh, now it's uneven, you can just, for instance, take this last one here. Oops. Not that. We'll copy that. And add it in there. And now it's more even. It's not a columns. So there's some things I could have done for you using code, and I wanted to take as much of that out as I could so that it would make it easier for you to make edits without needing anyone else. So I could have made this columns if I use code, but then it would make it really hard for you to edit. That's why I did it this way instead. So that's why you have to kind of manually balance the lengths of the columns. Sorry. I do want to show you here though. So when you make edits, go ahead. Go ahead.
Deirdre has her hand raised.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. Go ahead, Deirdre.
Just a quick question for a point of clarity. So here, when we're in the sandbox section, I understood that to be, this is where you might be using these sort of templates to create something new. But is this also a place where you can make updates? So I know Adita asked the question about, adding to this page, but I just wanted to understand that for a point of clarity, like you can actually make updates to this and then you'll see that on the page. It's not just for templates.
If you make changes on this page and you save it, all of you as a team will be able to see it, but it's not an external page because as a passcode, this is a place for you guys to learn how to use it and feel comfortable without feeling like you might break the site.
Okay. So yeah, so that answered my question perfectly. And
Perfect.
maybe there's going to be a point where you show us. So for example, this is a specific question I have, like Michigan Green Muslims. I see that they're added to the list.
Uh-huh.
And let's say they weren't on our list. Is there another section where we'd have the ability to add them and it will actually show up on the site with their link to their, because it looks like this is a practice section.
Yes.
Not the
So
actual
you would do it on
section.
you would do it on the live page. So
On the live page. Okay. All
we do
righty.
it on the live page itself.
Okay. Okay.
This is just for you to get comfortable.
Yeah.
So if you're comfortable, you can go ahead and make edits on the live page.
Okay. Yep. That was helpful.
Yeah.
That was clarifying. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. No, great question. So that shows that. And this would be an existing section. Let me click on save real quick just so you can. But let's say we wanted to add a blank section and you wanted to just add in what you wanted to add. I want to walk through what this is going to look like because you may want to do this at some point. Then we're going to go over blog posts because those are going to be the thing you may be making changes to. So each section, as I said, is made up of content and content is made up of blocks. So when you're in a section, you'll have, when you hover over it or click in it, you'll see on your left, add block, and on your right, edit section. So we're going to start out with blocks just so that you can walk through them. Your basic blocks that you all will use are text blocks. Again, so like sample text. And if I highlight the text here, I can change it to a heading. And I can change the width of this box. So all Squarespace blogs, like basically every other blog, they're laid out on grids. And so you can see those grids when you expand or move these boxes that contain the content. It's called Fluid Engine here, but it tells you how these are laid out. It's a column and grid format. So when you change the size of these, it changes, but it snaps to these grids. So text is going to be one, image is going to be another one that you'll use frequently. When you add an image block, you'll click on the plus. And if it already exists in your library, be sure to select from your library rather than upload it again so it's not duplicated. And we're going to go to here. And you'll find the image, click on it, and then click add. And then when you hover over it, you'll see these options. You can add a link. You can make the image, let's say you had the box larger than the image itself. You could make it align to the top or the bottom or the middle. You can also just, either to either side. You can duplicate it. That's your duplicate. But I want to show you the edit part because this is important. So you can attach a link here. It's got an alternate file name. For every image that you add like this, you're always going to want to add image alt text for accessibility purposes. So for here, we can say diverse group of young people in a circle with hands together. So not too long, but something that just describes it. Design, these two, so fit, you can see the box is bigger than the image in terms of proportions. So it fits it within it. If I click fill, it will expand until some of the image doesn't show, basically. So it will depend on what kind of image you have on, which you decide to do. Typically, for an image like this, I would probably do fill, but I'm going to replace this and do your logo. And if I did your logo and I did fill, it would look terrible because it would cut off parts of your logo. So for your logo, obviously, I would want to do fit rather than fill. You can also change the shape, so you can add a shape around it. But I just wanted to show you what that looked like so you know. So we're going to go through some of the basic blocks here. Buttons. You have 3 different size buttons. You have primary, secondary, and tertiary. When you click on the edit, you can change the text on the button, and then you'll add your link for wherever you want it to go. And similarly to a photo or an image, you can do fit or you can do fill. I think fit is a little bit better because it makes the button look the way it's really supposed to look versus it can be really flat or strange otherwise. So my recommendation is fit for buttons. And again, alignment, you can do the same thing here. Galleries are for photos, images, or videos. I use this for your testimonials, I think. You click on the plus and search images. Same thing, you can just add an image here. And then you would always, again, edit to add an image. We're just going to do test here, test and test. These are for all images or alt text. You can add a click-through URL if you wanted to. External, let's do .com, save. And then okay, and then when we go to design, you can decide if you want it, how you want it to look. There's different styles that these images will appear as. So you can see in your testimonials how it looks like, but that's actually coded in. But you can do this with a variety of images. I'm going to do just grid. You can show the title, and then if you do use external links, you always want to click on open links in new window in your design section. So that's galleries. Video, you can add YouTube videos, Vimeo videos. The only thing I would note is that there are some videos that you can't embed. And so if you get an error message, that's generally what it is. The last one I wanted to show you. Oh, and the summary was for blogs. And that's what you see on your take action section. So you have to draw from an existing blog to do that. So you only have one blog here, but you can see how it draws from there. And then you can choose the metadata. So for instance, your categories, you can choose author, and you can even filter items. So when we go through the blog post, I'll talk about categories, but you have two main categories since you have events and campaigns, advocacy campaigns or events. If you only wanted it to show events, it would only show events. If you only wanted it to show campaigns, you could just show campaigns. So that's just an example of, for example, in the future, if you wanted to do, I'd say you wanted a page with just Empower Michigan campaigns. If you guys were doing a lot of campaigns on your own, just as an example off the top of my head, something, you could do a page with just those as an example, just to show you. So we're going to save that. And I think those are all the blocks that you would probably need to use here. And then I did want to just show you how to edit a section, because that is important. So again, if you're hovering in here, the two things you'll see are add block and edit section. You can duplicate this section, so you can add a copy of it to the page. If you favorite it, remember when we clicked on add a section and it said save sections, it'll have whatever you put in here will be saved there so that you could add it to another page if you wanted. You can move it up or down on the page. So now we just moved it to the top, and we just moved it back down below. You can remove it all together. If you click on edit section, this is where it comes to how I was talking about that grid layout earlier. Your row count can never be smaller than the amount of content you have, but you could make it larger. So if you wanted to have your this bigger, you can add more rows here down below. The gap just says how much space there is basically between those grids. So the way the page looks. Fill screen determines if it takes up a certain amount of the screen or not. If you don't, it makes it smaller. If you do, you can choose the height. You can make it larger. So you get a sense. It's a little bit, it's pretty large right there. And you can align it so that it's at the top of the section or at the bottom of the section. Just to give you, and I'm going to reduce that. So that's how you would edit sections and add blocks. Do you have any questions on this piece right now before we head into blog posts?
I'm good.
Okay. So we're going to exit out of this page, and we're going to go to add a blog post. You're going to go into your not linked section to your take action events and campaigns blog page. And right here you have the two posts that say draft are your template posts that you can use to create new posts. These ones are all published already. If you needed, for instance, when I edited the site towards the end, you wanted me to change the arrangement of these so that this one came first. In order to do that, your blog posts are always going to be listed by date. So if you hover over any one of these, you'll see these 3 dots on the right-hand side. Click on that and click on settings. You'll click on options. Status will show you whether it's published or not. If you click on published and you go down here, you can change the date using this calendar and the time. So if you ever needed to do that, you could do that for an individual post as long as it's already been published. So I wanted to show you that since that's something that you had asked me to do specifically. Now, you have 2 main types of posts. You have campaigns and you have events. So I've created 2 specific templates for you, and I've created detailed instructions on how to do that. So I'm going to actually drop in here. Let me get back over here real quick. Chat, detailed blog post instructions. There we go. That should give you access. If it doesn't give you access, you can let me know. So if you want to add a campaign post, you hover over the campaign template post, which is a draft, click on the 3 dots and click duplicate. It'll create a copy at the top. So you'll click on the copy and click on edit. And so in these templates, it gives you an overview of what the post should look like and the information it should have in it. So you'll need to strip that out before you're done, but it's important for you to have that so you know what it looks like. The title of it will be like the event title. And this is the required information. So if it's a campaign that Empower Michigan is running, or if it's a member organization campaign, you'll need the same information. The only difference is whether you are writing it or whether someone else is writing it and providing it for you. You always want to make sure you have an image because that's important for social media and for SEO. The campaign blurb is, again, it's also for SEO, so that should be really short, no more than 2 sentences. Your blog post content with your call to action, and that will be a link to the action page. The blog post content will actually be from the campaign action page, and the link to the action page. And then your detailed instructions link is here for you so that you can see it. So this one shows you I've given you just what each section is. So your blog post image, this is just a sample. And I used a clean water, Eric, not even knowing that you were eventually going to be on the leadership team. I had pulled this out a long time ago. So I used a landing page from there. So the blog title would be Urge Congress to Protect Clean Water and Restore the Clean Water Act. Short blurb, this is actually much longer than it should have been because I updated this, but I'll fix that in a minute. So this should be really short. And then your blog post content will always start from member organization, unless it's an Empower Michigan one. So that way you can say who you're quoting. And it should just have their landing page content. That's the easiest way to do this. And that way it makes it less work for your member organizations and less work for you. And then have the links that are already in there, and then your call to action, and then your call to action button. And then these categories and tags are added. So once you've added all this stuff in, you would save. I'll make a change so that you can see that. You'll save, you won't publish it, and you'll exit. And then you go back to settings here, and we'll start with content. So this is actually I'm actually going to go back in here and fix this because I want this to be correct. So when you go into settings, you will be able to add a featured image. That's going to be the same image that you use for the blog post. You don't need to use separate images. So if I clicked on remove image here, this is what it would look like. You'd click on add image. Actually, no, you wouldn't do that. You'd click on search for images because it's already in your library. and then go to blog post images. And then this is just a sample blog post image that I threw in there just so that we could use it for this. The circle that's here shows you the center, like the viewpoint. So when it shows up on another page, what's the center viewpoint? Since it's a square on this particular image, when we go to the, I'm going to take you there just so that you can look at it. Take action. Trying to remember. No, take action here. See how these are, oh, actually you can't here. Look at this. See how these are all squares? So if the center viewpoint is like down here on an image, it will cut off. So you'll always want to kind of check and make sure that it's not cutting off. So that's why I moved that here so it looks more centered, I guess is a good way of saying it. So that's the only reason I moved that there. Typically, you don't really need to do that. Your blog excerpt, which again is for SEO, is going to go here. This part is optional. If you want the if you want this to go to an external URL, so for instance, if you wanted this to connect directly to the Clean Water Action page, you would add a link to that here. Otherwise, you could just delete that text. So for now, I'm going to delete that. We're going to assume that we want people to go to your blog post that's on the Empower Michigan website. The post URL, you're going to want to update the name because it's going to make just a weird name here. So we're going to say Clean Water Action. You don't want it to be too long because the longer the title is, the worse it is for SEO. So shorter is better. Author, you'll all be listed here as potential authors. So whoever it is, we'll click on their name. The source URL is optional, again, just like up at the top. If you wanted it to go directly to that organization's action page instead of linking to your blog post from the Take Action section. So we talked about this before, Adita. It's totally optional for you. I have detailed instructions in here, but if you did that, so this is the URL for that page. If you wanted it to open in a separate page, in a separate tab, you would add a /target_blank. And again, this is detailed in the instructions so that it would open in a new page. That's the only way to make that happen. And then you would link post title to source URL. If you don't do that, then it will link directly to your blog post on your page. So again, this is an optional thing. You do not have to do that. Once you've done this, done on this part of the page, click on Save. And then you're going to go back into settings. The reason I click Save is because if you don't save and then you screw something up, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to have to keep coming back. The next piece we're going to want to go to is SEO. So search engine optimization is so that people can more easily find what you've written. It helps bring more visitors to your blog. It helps increase your authority online. It's a really good thing. It's important. So everything on your site has already been optimized for SEO. You're just going to want to keep that going as you're going forward. All of your blog posts and pages have are already set up to have a specific title show up in SEO. So if this was for some reason a really long title, you could edit it down. You don't want this to be any more than 60 characters. And your SEO description is the excerpt that you posted up here in the content earlier. So the same thing right here. If you leave it blank, it will pull from the blog post. And what that means is sometimes it doesn't pull the most critical information that you would want someone to know if they were seeing your site online. So that's why it's important for you to have an excerpt that's a description of what the blog post is. Then once you've done that, your social image is going to pull. So this is your overall social sharing image for your entire site. If you have a page, for instance, like your privacy policy page, doesn't have any images on it, this would be the standard image that would be pulled into a social post if it was shared. But because on your content page, you have a featured image, that is the image that will get pulled when it's shared. So you don't need to do anything on there because as long as you have a featured image, you'll already have a social image. You'll never have to change that. Sharing, again, these, you don't have anything configured there. You don't need to do those. You don't use Squarespace email, and we don't have any social media connected. And location would be if it was like had a specific location. I wouldn't even do that for events because all that information is in your event template post. So once you're done, you're just going to go to options. This is an important portion. So the categories is the overarching bucket that this blog post falls into. And you only have two: events and advocacy campaigns. So this is an advocacy campaign. You only want to have one category per post because it's, again, the overarching kind. So you click on advocacy campaign and then click back. Tags are more like descriptors. These are for both for SEO and for you can use them to search on your site. So I would recommend, I have two tags: federal advocacy and state advocacy. You could add, if you wanted to add local advocacy, I could do that for you if you wanted to. And then I would recommend the name of the member organization that's hosting the campaign. Sometimes it might be more than one. Sometimes multiple organizations might be, but I would always add that in as a tag as well. You can add other tags, but those I think are pretty good for your advocacy campaigns. Maybe if it had to do with like Solar for All or something, you could add Solar for All as a tag, just kind of as an overarching thing there too. Once you're done with all that, you would just click, status. Status. So if you need to come back to it later, obviously save it as a draft. If you all work as a team, and let's say you say, whenever we write a blog post, we want Deirdre to be the final reviewer, to take a look, put eyes on it and make sure that everything is correct. You could click on Needs Review and it would add it to the review queue, and somebody would need to review it before it got published. Published is publish it now, and scheduled, you can schedule it for a later date and time. So you can choose the date and you can choose the time. So it's pretty straightforward there, and then you just click save. Before I move on to event template, do you have any questions on the campaign template posts? Okay, good. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to pop over to making the same thing. If you have an event blog post, you're going to start out by duplicating this event template post. So you hover over it, click the three dots, click on duplicate. It'll pop up a copy. You click on it, and then you click edit. It has the information that you need in order to get this prepped up. It has a link to the detailed instructions on how to do it. And then it has a layout of like what this would look like. So your blog title here is actually what would go up here. That's your blog title. Your short blurb for your blog excerpt, same thing. I think I didn't cut this down here. Your blog post body, it's your event details followed by a short blurb, host information, and a link for more info and or to RSVP. Sometimes people will have RSVP, sometimes they won't. And then an event image with a caption below and alt text. So I want to show you what this looks like for this. So when you have an image and you add a caption, you'll have caption below. You can have caption off, below, overlay, or overlay on hover. For this, we'll do caption below. The only one we're doing this for is on the blog post for events. You can do it for other ones, but this is the one I think it's most helpful for. You always add your image alt text. And then the caption will already be part of it. Down here, you'll have a space. You'll see where you can add a caption, and then you can add whatever information that you want there. And then you will save it and exit it. Again, you will not publish it until you've done all the settings part. So we'll go over here and click on settings, and it's pretty much the same steps you took before. You'll add your featured image. You'll notice how I put the center up here, so it really shows the Grand Rapids Climate March text. You'll do your excerpt. That's the same thing here. You'll do your post URL. So here you could put like 2024 GR Climate March. And it doesn't even have to be, I put the dashes between. You don't have to do, you can just do GR Climate March if you want. It's totally up to you. Sometimes it's nice to just make it a little bit easier to read there. Set your author. This, I had it set before to go to the Facebook link. Again, remember the source URL where it goes directly instead of coming back to your page. Again, that's totally optional. SEO, we'll add in that excerpt right there. That is too long. So this should be no more than 160 characters. Since this saves up to 300, we should have 140 left. So I'm going to put there. And then I'm going to click on options. So categories, it's an event. Tags, it's in Grand Rapids. I don't know if the Climate Coalition is a member. It doesn't necessarily matter, I suppose. You could still put them as the host, but I'll leave that up to you to decide how you want to do that. So for right now, I'll just leave the tag as Grand Rapids. And then status, you'd update your status, and then you'll click save. I think I'm going to go back here and I'm going to fix that, just so that I know it's the right length. So I tried to make these fairly straightforward in terms of how you will do them and what they should look like. If for some reason you're like, this makes it actually harder for me than if I just took one of these, like one of these and duplicated it, you could do that instead. That's total, that will not hurt my feelings. This is just to make sure that you have all the information you need and the links to the instructions so that you can always walk through and you know what you need. There you go. So, and let's see. Does anyone have any questions about the event template post?
Eric, I do have one quick question. Nothing about content or anything, but when you assign the tags, that's an easy way to sort of search for some of the things that you're looking for. Do you do search within this area?
So you can search, you usually search the site. So let's go, let's actually go to here. If you scroll to the bottom, any one of your pages, yeah, you can look for like Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids, yeah.
And search there. And it says, oh, your search did not match any results. Well, that's weird.
I think because you just said Grand Rapids. I think it only said Grand Rapids too.
Oh, no, but it's because it's not published. That's why. Oh, so let's see if we put in Midwest decarb. There's Party with a Purpose.
Mhm.
There's Protect Michigan. So we can see different posts there.
Okay,
So,
awesome.
Good question. Anything else on those?
I feel like I don't have questions now, but I'll have a million questions when I actually have to do this if I ever.
That's okay.
You know what I mean? Which is why I'm really glad this is on video.
Yes, it always helps. And I'll type out some extra notes in there too when I link everything back in, the final links into the client help page, so that you have them. And you can always ask me too if, like, I feel like there was something that you said and it's missing from there. I can make sure that it's linked in there. I'm going to delete these 2 copies for now, just because you already have the templates and I don't want to like have a bunch of extra stuff in there right now. I have some time for Q&A. I went through everything that I really wanted to get through with you, because those were the key components of walking you through.
Maybe this is on the site already, but I was just hoping you could maybe show how to edit or add, like to add a member, for
Oh,
example.
sure. Yeah, of course. You did mention that earlier. Sure. So when you're on your pages here on your main navigation, so who we are is where your members is. So we'll go onto that page and scroll down to your members. Okay, so there it is. So click on edit. And it's just like it was on the other page. So the text already exists. Wherever you wanted to add something. So Detroit Disability Tower. You would add a link there. You sure opens in a new tab. And then, like we mentioned, like moving.
Over.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I add a question on top of this?
Oh,
So basically, the idea of doing it in the sandbox is that you can kind of like see what it will look like and do it. And then could I just like copy and paste what I did in the sandbox into this to actually like make it so on the website?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, you could. And so I'm not going to save this because we actually didn't add Detroit Disability, but I just wanted to show you that it's the same exact principle of doing it.
And then I see that Maria Thomas and Michigan Green Muslims are there. Maybe they're not highlighted. I don't know if that means that
they don't have links. Yeah.
They don't have links. That was my question.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I can update that. I actually don't have one.
If you have links for them, you can send them to me. But do you want me to show you real quick how to do the links?
I think you showed us how to do that, like, but yeah, because you're recording it, so fine.
Yeah. So you'd click on edit on the page and go down to members. And then you would just select what you wanted to link. Select that text. And then in this bar up here, that's the links. Click on it. You'll add your link. And then once you've added your link, since it's an external link, meaning it doesn't go into the Empower Michigan site, always make sure that this open link in new tab is selected. And that's it. It'll add the link for you. And then you'll click on save, which obviously I didn't change anything, so there's nothing to save. Sometimes this bar might not have all of these options, but it will have those 3 dots at the end. So just click the 3 dots and then you'll see the full bar.
And then I have another question regarding just a regular edit, but outside of this, if you go back to, maybe it's the Who We Are page, it indicates the, maybe here under the EMLT, so the leadership team.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I may have just wanted to change like my last, actually it is changed, but I would have wanted to change if I wanted to make an edit to my last name or like the image or something.
Yeah, absolutely. So Same thing, a section like this is in your sandbox, so you can play around with it if you wanted to. But you would click on edit. So unlike blog posts, images on other sections of your site don't have captions. You actually need to add a text box underneath that will serve as a caption. So your name is here as text. So you would just edit that text and then click save. That's it. And then because your name is here in the accordion section, you'd click on that and the edit pencil. And I need to move this over so I can see. So the content within an accordion is broken down by each individual sort of accordion tab. And so if you click on this one, you would change the title, that would show your name, and then here's the content. So whatever you needed to change, you change there, and then just go back and then save the page, and that's all you do.
It's the same process for the image too, you said?
For the image,
Just
if you wanted to
click on-
change that image, so you would click on it, click on the edit pencil. Sorry, I have my meet shows up as a little pop-up window over here, so I have to move it. So you would replace this image if you wanted to change it. So if you clicked on replace, it would give you the options to upload a file, select from your library, or browse stock images. Oh, just if you're adding a stock image saved to a blog post, make sure, I'm just going to show you real quick. We're obviously not going to add a stock image for you, but you'll have the option for free or premium. Always make sure you choose free because you don't want to pay for images. So when you click replace, since this is the only image we have of you on the website right now, you would obviously upload a file. So you click on upload a file, and then it would ask you which one. The one thing I would say is all of the images on your website are optimized, meaning they are, so they're high quality, but they've been compressed so that they load quickly. So if you have a photo, if you can optimize it so that it's the right size for the web, smaller is better. So if you have a high quality JPEG, or you can use a website called Tiny PNG that will help you optimize for the web. And that way, like if you have a big picture, you can make the quality will stay the same, but the image size will be reduced. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So you'll always want to optimize a photo before you add it to the website. So you'll replace it, and then you'll make sure that you have your alt text in there. And so each of you actually have like a description, because since alt text is for blind and low vision, when you have a photo of a person, you really want a description of the person if possible, because since the person's blind or low vision, that's what actually helps them see you.
That's actually funny. That
Yeah. So each of you has a description in here, and you're free to edit it, but you know, you're all beautiful. So put nice descriptions of you. And same thing with staff. If you needed to add a staff person, you could add in another photo below here. You'd add a block, you'd add a photo below, and add a caption, and then add more information on a new staff member.
Would you add an extra block to do that, you're saying? Or
You would
can
add a
you just-
block. You don't need to add a new
Okay.
section. You could just add a new block right in the same
Okay.
section.
Or if there was a fourth LT member.
Fourth LT member, let's you know what, I'm going to exit out of this page, and I'm going to go into the sandbox because I don't want to. That will make it a lot easier here. So let's edit. And let's scroll a bit here. I'm on a call, boo. My daughter just got home from her museum day, so she's excited to share with me. So in here, so right now you have 3 LT members. Let's say we wanted to add a 4th. We'll do add block. Actually, you know what? We won't even do that. You know what we're going to do? We're going to make it even easier. We're going to click on both these, and then we're going to click on duplicate. Look at that. And then I'm going to scoot this over. So you have a couple options on what you can do. You can either, you can always reduce the size of images to make it fit better. Well, because here they won't fit all aligned. Oh, actually, maybe they will. They're too big.
Perfect. No, it kind of is perfect though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, they touch each other, so I would reduce size anyway, but it's kind of funny that they all fit in a row.
And since they're perfect circles, I would probably bump them up a little bit like this. And then I would make sure that the caption is the same width as the image, because otherwise it won't look correct when it's responsive, which actually reminds me of one other thing I needed to show you before we're done. And so the same thing here, you would update this image, update the name, and then add that person here. You click on add icon and add the new name and add the information. Now, actually, the easiest thing to do would probably be here. You do duplicate, and then you would just edit that. That's actually probably even easier.
Okay.
So that's how you could do that. And you could move this up if it looked like it was, too far away. You could move things around if you wanted to.
Now, is it a way to kind of reverse this by just going like undo, or would you have to just kind of cut everything out that you put there?
You can do Control Z.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. It'll do that. Yeah.
Do F.
And I'm so sorry, guys. I have to run because I have another meeting I have to go to. So you guys keep going with questions and stuff and keep recording, and I'll try to catch the end if there's like additional questions that are asked.
The last thing I wanted to show you was just the mobile. So up here, this is the mobile view. So if you add new sections or make edits, you'll always want to check your mobile view to make sure that it looks the way you want it to. When you make a change in mobile, you can go back and it actually applies to mobile, but does not apply to your desktop version. So that's the really nice thing about the responsive.
It won't make changes in both areas.
Yeah, it's a really powerful tool to be able to do that, to be able to make changes in one and not have to do it on the other. So just remember, always check on mobile and make changes like that.
So if I need to add a member, and I need to come here to mobile and add that person too.
No, you don't need to add them in mobile. You just want to see what it looks like to make sure it looks the way you want it to. That's all. You don't need to change it. You don't need to add it in mobile because the content will be there. But
yeah, okay.
You want to make sure that the layout looks the way you want it to.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You can move things around in mobile. So sometimes, for instance, like a title will be above your content. So you'll just need to drag things around so that they're in the correct place.
Okay.
That's all. Yeah. Any other questions or anything I didn't cover?
As far as all of the website is concerned, I don't have any other questions. Thank you for this training, and it was very, easy to understand. And thanks for recording on my behalf. I am going to have a question at the end just about Squarespace and setting up the email, but that's it.
Okay, sure. Eric, Vashti, anything?
This is great. I can really see why Squarespace was chosen. It's almost like Canva.
It does have a lot of those powers of like drag and drop and move around. It really is very powerful, and the more you get familiar with it, the easier it will become. So the biggest difference is I just do a lot of coding on the back end, which is the stuff that's not drag and drop.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a lot of powerful things it does. The fact that it makes it responsive without you having to do a lot. It's a really great tool for small organizations.
I didn't even know it was not. I mean, obviously you made it look very easy, Erica, but you get what I'm saying.
You're all smart. I think yeah, that helps a little bit too. So
Thank you.
Of
Sorry, I
course.
haven't been super responsive. I have a crying puppy in the background.
No, I understand. We got a puppy in December, so
You did. Oh, I had to hear about this later. And
So-
congratulations, Eric, as well for your child.
Oh, I think I cut out a little bit. Well, if we don't have anything else, I'm gonna stop presenting, and I'm going to stop recording and say thank you to all of you. And then Deirdre, why don't you stay on, and so we can fix the email address.
Okay.
But everyone else, I can let you go so you can have your afternoon back. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one. All right, so Deirdre, tell me what email. Let's see here. Let me get into
Okay, so one thing while we were navigating through, I was able to connect to the WEMIAC address.
Good.
But I don't want to use that address anymore. I would prefer to use the Empower Michigan at gmail.com because that is the email that I primarily use now for doing this work.
Okay, so I can't change that. You need to change that. So if you go, if you're, let me share real quick. 1 second.
I can share my screen if you think it's helpful.
No, I'll share.
Oh,
I'll
okay,
show you.
okay. Because I think maybe on your end, you might have to delete my account, or do I
No,
delete?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. So when you're in Squarespace, on the left-hand sidebar, you should see your own picture at the bottom. And if you click on that,
I don't see my picture on this at all. I see where it says, should I click on where it says go to website?
yeah, actually, you know what? Let's do share your site. Let's do share your
Okay. Yeah. Let me present now. So I need to figure out which one of these it is. Let me see. I need to let me pull this out. Sometimes if I close. Entire screen. Oh wait, window. Okay, here it is. I found it. I needed to change something.
Okay.
Can you see my
Oh,
screen?
I see where you see. Okay, so in the upper right-hand side where you see the D,
Right
click on
here?
that. Yeah. And then it says profile or either account, maybe account and security. Okay. Yeah. Click on account and security. Here, let me see something real quick.
I'm
I gotta look
sorry,
at my,
I shouldn't have did that.
I have not done this in so long, so I have to figure
It
out.
says login provider, login info. When I went to that, it said verify.
Yeah, because mine says like a change email address, but yours doesn't.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I don't know why yours doesn't say change email address. Oh, login provider. Yeah, why don't you just change that? So click on login provider.
Then continue with Google.
I can't, I don't see anything on your screen right now. What happens when you click on that? Nothing?
Yeah, no. It takes me to choose a different account, but it actually isn't choosing a different account. I honestly think I have to delete this account and get set up with a new email.
Okay.
So can I do that? Like, can I delete, but will I lose everything?
Hold on 1 second. Let me check something.
Stop presenting. Present
Okay. Here's the instructions on how to do it. There you go. So if you walk through on the bottom where it says switch from social login to email login.
Wait,
That
can you
will-
see that on my screen?
What?
Oh, are you talking about the link you just sent me or?
The link that I just sent
Oh,
you.
okay.
If you
Okay.
scroll down midway through, it says switch from social login to email login.
Okay.
And if you walk through those steps, you should be able to change how you're doing it. That's what I would do instead of deleting and starting over. And if that doesn't work,
The problem is, and this is what I really didn't honestly want to have to get into, but when Vashti when she was no longer with Empower Michigan, they deleted her emails. I don't want to run into that problem. So I need to just get a whole nother setup. Like everyone else has used another email. I just want to use another email. And then eventually I can just delete this account.
you want to use another email for Deirdre or another email for Empower Michigan.
Well, I use the current one that I'm using. I can check these emails myself, is the Empower Michigan at Google.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about just for Squarespace. That's all I'm talking about.
Yeah, I want to use the Empower Michigan at google.com or whatever it
And
is.
that's what I'm saying. If you follow the steps in that website link that I just sent you, walk through that and you'll be able to change the email address to your to that Gmail address doing this.